Mr. Ismail, uh, what strengths have you gained as an organization after acquiring a Curio label for digital applications? So, what strength has it given you as an organization, and how does it make you different than others?
So when we talk about strengths, it means that we have an advantage over our competition in terms of relatively quicker response in giving him the first proof. So usually this is how it would work in a conventional flexo. So we get a design, we make a pre-pressed print of it, we get it approved, then we get the plates made, and we schedule the print run in a certain way that it doesn't hinder with the production cycle. It takes at least 3 to 4 hours to get the first print out. And then even at that time, you're not really printing the labels. You're getting it just to get the customer to approve it. And there may be a possibility that we might stop at that time, going to a new change and a different color scheme, or maybe 10 people have to sign it, so the job has to come off the press again, and it's scheduled to print all over again later on when the customer has approved it. So having this would mean that we get the file, we print it and send it, and he's like, okay, so we have the print ready maybe in a couple of hours, maximum one day. So that's the key advantage over here when it comes to Flexo, that the job is right at the customer's desk the next day, whereas before that, it was not even possible. So that's the first benefit. The second would be that during that time, we are saving on not just the time, we are saving on the lost substrate, because that means that we are saving at least 150 to 200 linear meters on a single proof, because we're not color matching, we are not doing registration issues, we are not having plate mounting, etc. So in that case, we are saving on substrate plus the lead time right now. So there are two things being saved right now. The third key benefit is that we are able to do certain jobs in one go. So in Flexo, it's very difficult to do 6 SKUs in one run. So we would plan 6 runs separately, because they all have 6 special colors. So it means that we have to plan it one by one by one by one. In this case, if the shape is the same and only the colors are changing, the size is the same, we would go with a one print run. So we would print all 6 SKUs in one go, die cut it and supply it, and split it later on in different rolls. So it allows us to print 6 different or 8 different or whatever SKUs in one go, meaning that it was never even possible, because in conventional Flexo, we might be printing 3 jobs, 4 jobs, maximum 5 jobs in one day. So it means that a whole day of work can be done in a couple of hours. So that's like the third key advantage. But let me be honest. I'm sorry, not only the strengths, they are always...
Can I switch off the mic?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
The point is that every press I have seen so far, not only Konica Minolta, you take any digital press, every system has its own limitations. So no one complete product is there. Everyone has some key advantages, some weaknesses. So whenever a person is going into making that decision, you should always weigh whether the advantages are more than disadvantages. In our case, we went with digital. Now we feel that there's a higher, we have the possibility to print more, but we have to control ourselves and not to print more, because the limitations come into play. For example, the customer will really appreciate the quality of the print being a digital, but again, in order to print the same digital quality on a Flexo means going haywire on pre-press, on plate quality, everything has to be so precise that we can achieve the same digital quality on a Flexo press, which makes it difficult. So we would prefer to do it on digital, but again, printing 100,000 labels on digital means it's just not possible, because the press is designed to print 300 meters or 400 meters. It requires recalibration, it requires color accuracy. In his case, if he's going from offset to digital, the first obstacle I would say he need to work on is how precisely the customer wants the color to be there. Because in offset, you usually has this advantage of using whatever color you want. But in digital, whenever you're matching the same box color with the label, you're like, oh, I'm stuck because I cannot replicate the same color on over here. So that's where he really needs to focus on, as to convince the customer from the first go that this is the compromise you're willing to accept, but this is the advantage you're getting out of it. So there will always be limitations. Just work according to the limitations, because we have gone into that scenario and we really feel that we could have done a bit more. But maybe next time. That's what it's
Good,
supposed to be.
good, thank you. So my follow-up question would be, you have almost achieved about 100,000 linear meters, right? In 10 months, 11 months? 11 months, that's a very good volume. So what would be your projection in the next 12 months? How much do you see doing in the next 2 months? 1.5 times, double?
So let me be more clear. So in both these cases, they would see that in 6 months, they would get to 30,000 maybe, 40,000. But the next 6 months, they would do the same 30,000 in 3 months.
Okay,
Or maybe the next 60,000 in 3 months.
okay,
So the cycle keeps on improving, because the first few months are pretty difficult to get. The moment you start getting repeat orders of the same job, you would see that in a month we hardly did 1,000 meters, but next month we did 10,000 meters.
okay.
So the average keeps on improving. So I believe that we did around 30,000 linear meters in 2 months, in the last 2 months. So, and we still have orders enough in the pipeline that if you print all those orders, we might be doing 20,000 linear meters in a month. So I believe that the average will improve, but I think that we would have to limit it, given that there is a certain capacity constraint coming up. In terms of matching the colors, sometimes if customer comes in and he's like, I want the same color, and it takes certain amount of time to precisely get to that color.
So what would be the ratio of increment? Let's say 11 months and the next 12 months, what is the ratio of
We
increment?
might
we
be
expect?
able to do around, if we average it out, I would say, like for example, if we are doing 6,000 linear meters on average per month, the average is going to improve to 10,000 to
Okay,
12,000.
okay.
But
So
it
Mr.
depends.
Bhatt, can you arrange more toner, please? Yeah?
He's already out of it.
Okay, all right. Oh, okay. All right. Audience, any question? Any question? No? Okay. So,
Yeah.
Mr. You do? Yeah, please.
How you do the die cutting for the after printing?
Sorry?
Die cutting,
Yes.
how you do it?
So that's where I would add to my comments. So the first 6 months were pretty difficult, given that we were pretty skeptical about the fact that